Fantastic. And look, thank you everybody for joining us today for episode 9 of our series. Focus for today, really the impact that current digital strategies are having within pharma marketing. I'm joined by our content marketer, Nithya, as well as our digital marketer, Ashkan. Ashkan, welcome to the webinar.
Yeah, thank you. This is the first time participating as the webinar. So I think this topic is going to be much more exciting for everyone who especially they are in this business. So looking forward to it.
Fantastic. No, absolutely. So as I say, before we jump into things today, really important from a housekeeping perspective, what you'll see within the Zoom is that there's a section on there for the Q&A. What we'll do is we'll go through, if any questions come up, please jump on, ask the questions, and then obviously we'll go through at the end. Really keen to obviously start an active discussion. So with that, look, what we're keen to do is obviously jump into things. So impact of digital strategies on pharma marketing today. And really what we're going to be going through is really 3 sections. So firstly, what I'm going to walk through is the industry trends and insights. So what we're looking to give is a little bit of an overview of the current state of the digital health initiatives in Australia from a pharmaceutical perspective, but taking that all the way back from patient to where are they looking, where are the doctors looking, and importantly, what are they looking for, and where does RxTro sit in with that? Next, I'm going to hand over to Nithya, who's going to look at some top of funnel strategies. So within the context of that ecosystem, looking for ways to really drive that traffic to where you're hoping to direct it. And then finally, Ashkan's going to close out really looking at mid and bottom funnel tactics and really how to take those opportunities that you've generated in a digital ecosystem and translate them into actions that result in obviously the solution that you guys are offering being delivered. With that, I'll come back at the end and just round things out, and then we'll jump on and obviously go through any questions. So when we're looking at the ecosystem, there's an excellent report that I found online. It was actually produced by a digital marketing agency called Graphite. It was in connection with one of the Reuters events, and fundamentally it was called the Contradiction Conundrum. This was a survey at one of the recent Reuters events, and it was 450 professionals, 85% of which identified as working in the pharma or biotech manufacturing space. What we can see is that there was a good distribution of company sizes. So we obviously had the small startup biotechs of around 0 to 500, and then obviously the larger established players of around 10,000 plus in terms of employees. The great thing about this data as well is despite being across a variety of different job functions, so commercial operations, marketing, and brand and product, what the report showed was that there was a lot of agreement and consistency when organisations were approaching the digital initiatives that were taking place at the moment. The first question that people were asked in the survey is there value in the role of pharma-sponsored digital products, and can they add value to the HCP and the patient by supporting the overall customer experience? And the great news with it was there was 91% of respondents that actually indicated that yes, absolutely, this is a direction that we should be going in, and fundamentally a direction that's going to add a lot of value to that overall patient experience. What was interesting and really formed the basis for the conundrum was when the same group were asked, are the current digital pharma product launches regularly succeeding? Only 4% of the same group of respondents actually responded that they were. So what we're seeing at the moment is that there's a large gap between what we see as the potential or the value that these digital initiatives can bring and what we see as the perceived results that is actually coming to fruition in terms of actual expectations. There's a lot of reasons that are given in this report, and after the webinar in the email, there'll be a link to the full report. But one of the big ones that we really found, and what we're looking to focus on today, is that really the first-hand user insight is often being overlooked. So what was really interesting was the group of respondents, while 85% of them said that speaking to customers is essential, what was really interesting about it was that actually 27% of the same respondents said that they actually do that on a regular basis. So in terms of part of the global mandates and the requirements, so do we have to do it? What we saw was that it was only 20% that actually included this in their product development cycle. And by region that varied, with some areas being as low as under 10%. This identified a number of weaknesses or potential improvements in the overall digital product definition strategy. And really what we're focused on today is this section here, which is starting off by defining the purpose and the goals, which out of that should fall the user need, and then going through from there. So with that, what the objective of the first section that I'm going through today is really the objectives, the role, and the ecosystem. I always like to say that to achieve any objective in an environment, you need a clear understanding of the ecosystem and your specific role within this. So fundamentally, what's happening in the external environment and what's the value that our solution is going to bring to that environment. Before we get into the ecosystem, what I'm keen to do is just set up a framework when we're thinking about roles. And this is an established framework when we look at UI and UX design. And fundamentally, when you think about it, either from a consumer or a HCP perspective, there's generally one of 5 things that they're trying to do with any digital activity. So with any internet or computer-based activity. They're either looking for further information. This might be information around a disease state, around a condition, around a treatment. They're looking to buy something. They're looking to be entertained. So this is obviously the Netflix and then streaming ads. They're looking to streamline communication, such as the online appointments and so forth, or they're actually looking to learn. So they're looking to take the time to do an online course or investigate things more thoroughly. But fundamentally, when we break it down, these are the 5 roles that we see that anybody is looking to use digital initiatives for. And as I say, when we jump into the ecosystem, what you'll see is that the sites that we see that are performing really well generally have one of these 5 roles really clearly defined. The second part within this is really defining the ecosystem. So what are people doing online at the moment that you're looking to grab their attention? The way we tend to define things is really this ecosystem on the left. So when we think about it, essentially at the start, obviously we've got the patient. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what are the typical sites the patients are currently looking at, and where is there an opportunity to obviously get these patients looking at more content that's related to your solution. Once the patient is armed with the information that often they've found online, this is obviously information that they're bringing in to their primary care physician. The primary care physician is obviously acting online in a digital environment as well. And what we see is that their activities can really be broken into a few different categories. So we've got the different practice management systems that are available. We've got company portals that are offered by pharma companies. We've got journals. Commercial content such as Medical Republic and AusDoc. We've got CPD-based activities, and then obviously we've got face-to-face interactions that they're having with your teams every day. But fundamentally, these are the combinations of different sources of information that are coming through to the physicians. RxTro's role in all of this to act as an integrator and a communicator, fundamentally bringing all of those different areas together. Later on, when we jump on to what Nithya and Ash are going to jump into, how do we pull this information out of the ecosystem and into your solution? So just very quickly, what I'll do is I'll just walk you through the consumer traffic patterns that we see in Australia, but fundamentally, 80% of consumer information needs were met by American websites. So the number one website that consumers use in Australia is Mayo Clinic, followed by Healthline, Chemist Warehouse, Cleveland Clinic, and WebMD. We can see that they're regarded as reliable health information. There are a wide range of topics, and fundamentally, there's a lot of detail on there. What's important about these sites, though, is they're defined with a clear audience as well as a clear role. So when we look at the Mayo Clinic, it's a patient focus, it's an information seeker role, and we can see that the content that they have developed is pulling through from a wide range of sources. So shingles is the top searched term that's coming through to the Mayo Clinic site, followed by endometriosis, osteoarthritis, migraine, dermatitis, and psoriasis. But fundamentally, these are people who are searching with these conditions are looking at the Mayo Clinic for further information. Healthline operates in a little bit of a different spot, but once again, clear patient focus, information seeking role, castor oil, vitamin D, the Mediterranean diet, selenium, and the keto diet, the number one drivers of traffic to this site. Chemist Warehouse, interesting once again, we're now talking a patient focused, but a purchasing role. And the organic traffic that was driving towards these sites predominantly related to either fragrances, cosmetics, the catalogue or skincare. Or what was really interesting, and it's a relatively new trend, but in terms of mobile searches, it was Chemist Warehouse specifically, Chemist Warehouse near me, pharmacy near me, or obviously opening hours. The final one within the patient focus, once again, patient-focused and information-seeking role, but American website, Cleveland Clinic, and the search terms with this a little bit different to Mayo, which was interesting, more genericized as around therapy areas as opposed to specific conditions, but heart, eczema, neurodivergence, chlamydia, and a hernia. So the takeouts from fundamentally the consumer traffic, what we're seeing is that, look, it's a very, very busy space. There's over 500,000 searches a month from consumers. In principle, most of the information that is coming into consumers via the website is driven by American sites. So there's no Australian government sites or so forth in those top areas. And essentially, this is really where we sort of see a potential opportunity. Moving now over onto the other side, what we see is that HCP traffic can be really categorized into sort of those three different categories. And what we can see is that, look, medical journals drive the most traffic. So we see that it's around 5.1 million visits each year, which essentially represents that each of the GPs would be visiting these sites around 3 times a week. Commercial news, which was the next category, you're looking at around 3.7 million visits per year, which once again, visiting around twice per week. CPD, which was interesting, volume was lower. So we see that on average, you're probably looking at doctors going to it around once per fortnight. But as expected, what we were seeing was that obviously bounce rate and duration was a lot higher. So duration was a lot higher and bounce rate was lower. So fundamentally, when the doctors are obviously going for the CPD based activity, it's probably time that they've set aside to spend more time on it rather than those opportunistic in between breaks. Just to round out my section, essentially looking at some of the pharmaceutical traffic, it was interesting. We see that total pharmaceutical traffic in Australia is around 150,000 visits at the moment. But what was interesting was that we saw a wide range of the different activities. So the top 4 sites actually accounted for about 80% of total pharmaceutical traffic. And once again, for the reasons that were sort of specified, a really clear role and a really clear focus. So The highest traffic in the last 12 months was Novartis's web hub. It was really interesting. So this was clearly a HCP focused site and really a learner role. So the top pages that they had, there was around 27,000 visits to Heart in a Box and around 24,000 visits to different face-to-face educational meetings that were occurring. GSK Pro was the next highest one with around 30,000 visits in terms of traffic. Once again, really clear focus, a HCP focused site, but this one was a communication based role. So the top page was the resources page with around 15.7 thousand visits, which makes absolute sense. The next one was Clopine Central. This is a site that it looks like it's used to record patient enrollments. Really clear patient focus. Once again, a communications role. Total visits around 24,000. Finally, My EpiPen to round out the top four. So total visits around 10,000. What was interesting was this one was probably the site that had the most diverse range of pages visited. So what we saw was that the number one page was really the expiry reminder, but there was quite a lot of actual content that was in this site that was being consumed as well. So daily life articles around asthma, around traveling with anaphylaxis, and so forth. So as I say, that's really where I wanted to just give a little bit of an overview of the ecosystem. In terms of how to operate within these ecosystem, I'll hand over to the experts. I'll introduce Nithya, who's going to talk through top of funnel, and then we'll move on to Ashkan. So Nithya, welcome.
Thank you, Liam. Hi, everyone. So as Liam has specified, the major traffic that comes from there are two audiences here. We have the patients and we have the HCPs. So to concentrate on it, the pharma ecosystem has changed over the years. The consumers have become more knowledgeable, and that actually puts pressure on us to create more content and create more strategies that can drive traffic to our websites. See, creating a website and just forgetting about it is not an option today, because we are digitally more, everybody's online, and a patient, even before he goes to the GP or even before he takes a medication, he's going to check out what's there for him in that, what kind of side effects or whatever it is. They are more knowledgeable at present. So to drive that kind of traffic, to drive that kind of audiences, we need to have expert strategies, and we need to create strategies behind it, which we need to keep addressing once in a while. You don't need to do an overhaul of the whole website, no, but then we need to keep doing it. It's a constant process. It's not just, you do it once and you forget about it. So it's a constant process. So can I have the next slide, please? Yeah. So in any marketing strategy, either digital or anything, we consider it as a funnel. The first part is the top of the funnel activities, where we create awareness for the brand. Let's say, we reach out to the audience, or we understand the audience's behavior and see how it goes, what all they expect from us. The second one is the middle of the funnel activity, where we address the condition. Let's say we strategize to understand how to reach out, what kind of strategy is needed, either one-on-one meetings with the doctors, which is quite important, but then other than that, what else we can do, like create content behind it, and what kind of content needs to go there, like how Liam showed just now. The HCPs going to check about CPDs or any kind of conditions. The patients, more in that line, rather than CPD, they go and check about a drug or a condition, or so we need to strategize it. That's the middle of the funnel. The bottom funnel is where the activity goes into, completely the consumer focused. So that is, I mean, basically the middle of the funnel and bottom funnel are the activities that we do for the digital strategies. But yes, the top of the funnel is as important because you need to first understand the audience and create awareness for the brand. Next slide, please. Yeah, so the top of the funnel activities that we can do are, I mean, keyword research. We all have heard about keywords and, you know, how it's so important in content marketing. It is because, you know, when you go and search, you know, whatever it is, it's not, let's not. Today we have everything on our, literally on our fingertips. We just go to Google for all the searches that we do. So that's what, so the keyword is quite important in, for the strategy. So before even creating the strategy, we need to understand what kind of keywords that we can use to drive that audiences to us. So say, for example, you have, I mean, I've just put up some examples like you, tell me sartan, for example. So that kind of, I mean, tell me sartan, atorvastatin, whatever drugs that you have, you try to find keywords behind these, whatever the products that you have, generic name or whatever kind, so that you understand the kind of searches that are being made behind that keyword, and collect a couple of, I mean, collect a bunch of keywords, not just, I mean, let's say hundreds of keywords, and work behind it to develop your strategies. So it can be link building, backlinks to sites like WebMD or Mayo Clinic, or, you know, just creating content behind it on your website alone, or in other channels also. Yeah. And the other two things that can be done for the top of the funnel marketing is competitor analysis. See, it's very important to understand the competitor. Say, for example, you have created a product and a competitor also has a similar product. So you need to understand how they are faring in the market, how the ecosystem works behind it. So that's very important. SWOT analysis. So you do that as your first part of the digital marketing channel. The next one is targeted marketing. You need to understand like which audience. If you're targeting Australian audiences, you need to understand how they are faring, how then comes the middle of the funnel activities.
Fantastic. Look, thank you very much, Nathia. And Ashkan, look, really keen to hear your thoughts around middle of funnel and bottom of funnel.
Yeah, thank you, Liam. Thank you, Liam. So I think the funnel strategy is always very interesting for me and for businesses who they are trying to optimize the way that they are doing marketing activities. So as Nitya mentioned and shared with us, the first and most important section at beginning or the top of the funnel is you have to consider increasing awareness through the market. But the next step that I want to discuss right now is the middle of the funnel. This is where all of your awareness actually they are taking place and people that are showing reaction to your marketing strategies. So there are a couple of things, tools, strategies that you can use while you're doing middle of the funnel marketing. One strategy is to do cold outreach. Cold outreach is the second or third interaction that you do have with your prospects. Prospects, they are usually the type of people who they are not just yet your customers, but they do have the potential to become like customers. So cold outreach, there are a couple of tools that you can use it for cold outreach strategies. One is to do it through LinkedIn, or the other is to do it through email marketing activities. We all know the challenge of using email marketing activities. It is that you have to send the content that you provide based on the different journey and the behavior of your customers, and you want to send it to your prospect or to your warm lead at this stage, should I say. But the challenge is that whenever you want to do it, you have to consider it by personalize the content. So if you want to write something and you want to share and send it to all of them, you're probably not getting the result that you wanted to. And at the same time, you have to track the user behavior to see how many people they are opening the email, how they are clicking on the email that you sent, and doing like A/B testing. So A/B testing is one of the key elements. It allows us to realize which version of the content is better and working more effective based on the journey that our users have. And also retargeting, of course, for businesses that they are running ads. I think retargeting is a very key tool at this stage. And here on the next slide, you should be able to see the nurturing leads in the campaign and marketing that we usually do at RxTro. And these journeys, they design very compatible with the needs of our prospect and the customers. So we are making sure that each one of them, they are in the right stage based on the behavior they have. And the last part of the funnel is the bottom of the funnel. This is where the prospect or a potential customer, they know about us, they're considering the brand or your business, but at the same time, maybe they are considering your competitor as well as business. So at this stage, you're like in a phase that you want to build the trust. You want to show them that how effective you can be and let your customer to finally make a decision. But what it can help them is to do follow-ups. So when it comes to follow-ups, usually automations, they are like very big part of the follow-ups, because the number of the prospect that you're doing and reaching out to and doing the follow-ups with, they are going to be exceeded at some point where you cannot do it manually, especially when it comes to strategies like onboarding and education the customers. So since everyone is in a different stage and you cannot be in all of the place at the same time, you need to use the power of automations. So I think automations, as you can see in the next slide, I bring you a sample of the automations that usually do is to have different paths based on the behavior of your customer or your hot lead. So at this stage, the warm lead that we were started at the top of the funnel now become hot lead, and you have to do the follow-up. So with the conditions, we can exactly send the right customer or hot lead to a different path. So maybe for one customer, the path is like this. So the email that they are getting here is different. And also you can see that in each part we are doing A/B testing here. So it allows us to know which type of the version of the email content that we are sending is actually working better. And the good thing is that the content is customized. But again, when you are doing the marketing activities here in this business, in the pharma business industry, it is important to always consider to build the trust for your audience. And at this point, we can only consider different strategies, doing A/B testing, and basically trying new things.
Fantastic. No, thank you very much for that, Ashkan.
Yeah, sure.
And just to pull it all together, so as I say, the way that we see to look at things is firstly looking at it as an ecosystem of activity that's occurring. How do you direct those activities down your funnel into obviously people and patients benefiting from the solution that you offer. And as I say, really RxTro's role within all of this is to really assist taking things out of the digital ecosystem and putting them in front of your face-to-face team so that fundamentally you can really action those hot leads that you guys have done a lot of work to generate. So really probably takeouts from today, a clear focus, a clear role as to what is critical for success, integrating the system across your different pieces of infrastructure, and really what we see is responding well, particularly in a HCP environment, is a learning role or a communications role are the two key elements. So what I'll do there, I'll open up for questions. There's been one that's come in already, Ashkan, and it's an interesting one just in the context of a lot of the conversations that I'm having with companies on a day-to-day basis. The question is, with the CRM system, should we be expecting our CRM to do this, or is the CRM, where does the CRM sit sort of in the text?
Well, the CRM is basically the heart and the soul of the sales and marketing teams. So you want to make sure that you're using a platform like CRM. It doesn't matter really which type of CRM you're using. It could be Salesforce, HubSpot, Pipedrive, anything. But when it comes to nurture the leads, when you convert them from awareness to consideration, and then you're turning them into hot leads and customers, you always want to know which lead is at which stage. So you can have a better communication according to their stage. So consider this. For example, there is a record, there is a hot lead that you have been working on for a very long time, and they are ready to become your customer, and they are on the last stage. So suddenly one day you are not working, or it is your off day, and the client actually send an email, and one of your coworkers, they want to do the follow-up and be in touch with the customer. I'm sorry, with the hot lead. So they are not at this stage, still become a customer. But since they don't know which stage this hot lead is actually existing, they might send irrelevant data, or they just sending one of the emails related to awareness strategy. So what happened is that the hot lead or the potential customer at this stage, they realize that they are talking to multiple people, and the trust that you were building so far has been compromised at this stage. So it is always good to keep the data, the tasks you are doing, the follow-ups you are doing with each context on the CRM, because at some point, because the number of the customers, the potential customers, the hot list could be increases as your business grows. So you want to make sure that everything is on track. And CRM is one of the key essential things, but not necessary for all business growth.
Fantastic. No, absolutely. There's been another question that's come in, and it's probably more a question for you, Nithya, but one of the challenges that look, a lot of people on the call will face is content production. Essentially just the lead times, the approvals, and so forth. I guess probably what would be your recommendation about, you were talking sort of with those keywords about making sure that it's current and so forth. How much content needs to be produced, and how often do these things need to be updated? I'm keen to, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. See, it's more about quality than the quantity. What happens is, when you research a keyword, keywords are limited limited durations. They might change the next month, they might change into something else. Say, for example, when you consider the sports channel now, it will be possibly be the Olympics. That's the hot topic now. Tomorrow it's something else. Tomorrow it's something else. So basically, the keywords have limited duration of activity in our system. So instead of producing a lot of content, as I said, you don't need to do an overhaul of the website to make it keyword compliant. What you can do is keep searching for these, like keep yourself updated. Let's say once in a month or once in a couple of months, you go and search and check whether the keyword, your website content is keyword compliant. I'm not just talking about the blogs or articles here, but not only the resource pages. Every page that you put in, you just do an SEO search, SEO compatibility to check whether you have all those keywords in place and you can drive traffic even now after 2 months. If not, you don't need to change too much about it, just a few sentences here and there to make it more relevant to the present situation, and that's it. So basically, it's not the quantity, but the quality that matters here. So, putting up 4 or 5 blogs a month is not as essential as putting up relevant content, which is, appropriate to the present keyword that's making high ranking on the Google or anywhere else, on any other search engine also.
Fantastic. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, this is possibly just a little bit of a question for everyone, but we sort of talked through a number of sites that certainly from the data we see are generating the bulk of the traffic from the pharmaceutical sort of produced content that's out there. I guess the question is, what do we see that in general those sites are doing well, that the reason they're sort of generating that traffic compared to the others? Maybe we all have a bit of a share our thoughts on that, and maybe Ashkan, let's start with you.
Yes, so I think the one thing that is different based on the website traffic is you have to keep it the way that you think it is, like the main strategy. So for businesses that they do have been working on different sides and they have been on this type of business for a long time, from the SEO side, they do have like a very good reputation with Google, even if they are working on different keyword. The probably that they are getting ranked faster. So the best way here for you is to learn the way that they are doing it and actually prevent their mistakes. So in the long term, you should be able to get the results. But at the same time, there are like different strategies that you can take on to keep up at this stage. And one of the things that I always recommend is the cold outreaching.
Yeah, absolutely. Aniti, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I agree to what Ashkan said. It's keeping yourself updated every now and then. Say for example, let's consider the Mayo Clinic here. I mean, I'm not endorsing Mayo Clinic here, but I'm just telling about how Mayo Clinic figures out whenever we type in a condition. Mayo Clinic is the first one that we see with all its content. That doesn't mean they are doing it every now and then. Say for example, endometriosis. They're not going to create content every month or every week. No. But what's happening is, as we know, they are doing constant work on it to keep it updated. We have these SERP ratings on Google, which keeps changing every day. It's like you're climbing the summit and the next minute, the other person is climbing up. So you need to keep yourself updated, keep yourself energized with the kind of keywords and, the kind of work that you do on the website. It's a constant endeavor. It's not just, one time work and just stop everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Fantastic. And look, I guess possibly the only other thing that I'd add to that, the way I sort of see it, there was, as I say, a really clearly defined role. And it fit with one of those sort of behavioural categories that we see within the users, and a really quick and simple value proposition for somebody who's sort of obviously going to that website. Yes, okay, this is why I'm here. This is what the website's here for, and going through from there. So whether that's a patient, whether that's a HCP, it was a really clear call to action. Well, look, there are a couple of other questions that have come in, but I'm conscious that we've gone over time already, so we do need to let people get back to their day. But look, just once again, thank you to Ashkan and Nithya for obviously sharing your insights today. I hope that the audience has had a lot of value, but most importantly, thank you to everybody who's on the call now. As I say, if you want to discuss anything further, please reach out to us. Our details are on the site. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye.